I definitely have some issues in that area as well. And all I'm going to say on that is you learn to be creative. We're going to get weird comments for this topic. We're doing Friday Find Out, where we answer common questions and concerns for the community. Now, a couple of announcements before we get started on today's segment. At the end of the month, we will have our very first guest speaker. So,
Yay.
like and subscribe so you don't miss out on that content. And again, thank you guys so much for the support. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback within the first week. It's kind of crazy. So, again, thank you guys so much. All right, so getting started here with Friday Find Out. How was your Friday?
Quiet, families on vacation, nice quiet day, had a unruly kitten sleeping beside me and rain. Such a good nap.
Nice. Fun times. Alrighty, so looking at our first question, which Ty, I think this would be a perfect one for you to answer. It is, I have never been bothered by my disability as a kid or as a teenager, but as an adult, I realize that as a husband and father, there are so many things I can't do.
Okay, so I'm going to say 3 kids and a stepdaughter, but they're all not mine. One is adopted from my ex, and two are my niece and nephew. Being a father is completely different for me than other. There was a deep period when I was worried about what women wanted and in my inaccuracies physically and stuff like that. And then I got older and then started having kids and then realized that's all BS. Uh w- One, worrying about, your versus as a man, wife and kids. My kids adapted to me. They do not know anything different and then their uncle or dad being disabled. That's just who I am. They don't see it in any way. It's just how
Yeah.
uncle is. And they are so accepting and accommodating. Once they start running, they become little runners and they go grab stuff and they're so excited to be helpful. Uncle picks you up because he's strong enough, but careful about uncle falling over. And like my son, he's 15 now. When he was like 3 or 4, he would be like, or 5 or 6, he'd be playing soccer and he'd always like beat me and kick it past the goal. And he's like, I'm so good, I can't believe I beat you. And I'm just not able to run right or left, going, yeah, bud, you're amazing.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like that's most kids. Like they get that pride in I beat dad, yeah. I beat my uncle, yeah. Like they get
Right?
that.
Realizing like I literally have limitations. And now like he runs for me and does stuff. Like I'm physically stronger than him, but he can run faster than me. He does this thing where he knows he can grab my shoulders and pull me at like a 45-degree angle, and then I will be locked. I can't move anywhere because gravity is like against me and I can't move left or
Yeah.
right. And he'll totally immobilize me, his dad, in place. And I'll be like, you little I'll try to get out and I can't get out because gravity's against me. It's our own little personal
Yeah.
joke together. I used to drift on my wheelchair with him, and he'd love it. He'd giggle. Uh, I was going up to his mom's house in my wheelchair, and he a little onesie, little baby shoes. He runs out, and I put my arms out, and I lean forward to go pick him up in my wheelchair, and he runs past me. I'm like, why do that? And I feel these two little baby hands pushing the back of my wheelchair and push me. He's like, and I'm like, why is he doing this? And his mom goes, he's trying to get you to the house faster so I could spend time with him, right? And they go, "Ugh," and two little tiny baby hands pushing the back of my wheelchair. He just appreciated that
What are
there.
some challenges that you faced going into that role um, of uncle slash fatherhood that you kind of had to overcome? And like, what feelings did you kind of have to face and overcome when you became this father figure?
Well, the very beginning, literally the very beginning, is worrying if I could pick them up at all, right? Am I gonna fall sideways, something like that? And eventually, it was just like people would start like when I was younger, it was hand tie the baby while he's sitting in a chair, right? And then when I started picking up newborns, oh my God, they are so light, it is not a problem, right? and it's like just knowing when to pull them over and stuff like that. If you feel unsecure, if you feel unsecure, sit down and then pick them up, right? You're not going to fall that far from a sitting position. And if you don't feel secure, don't pick up the baby, right? Baby safety is overall. And then they get bit bigger, and uh, using baskets with handles and keeping them in their baby seats with the handle and just moving them place to place and then taking them out. Like, there are safety devices you can use to get them places, because I'm not going to walk downstairs or upstairs with a newborn, right? And when I was holding them and my niece and nephew at night, I wouldn't leave a floor. Like, if I was playing games, they hand me a baby and he's sleeping, I would stay playing games all night, and I would have a night shift. My brother and sister would have the day shift because I wouldn't change floors. My
Right.
nephew, I would literally pull the couch cushions out and fall asleep with like no blanket or blanket, huddled around a baby that was asleep because it was the baby. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah.
giving my all for something that was small and precious and weaker than me in a weird way.
So yeah, so I kinda dealt with a similar thing, but this was more of like a babysitting thing. Back when I was like 16, 17, I used to babysit for this lady. And I wanna say her kids were around 3 and 5 or so, give or take.
Mm,
Um, and she tried to have me carry the baby up the steps.
oof,
And because of my balance, I need to have one hand on the rail, and I will need another hand on the wall, depending on how my balance is doing that day.
yeah.
And she actually got upset because I was like, "Hey, I can't carry your baby upstairs. Do you have a sling that I can put her in?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "There's," I was like, "Look, I can't do this. I don't want to drop your baby. I'm not going to drop your child and fracture their skull falling down the steps." And she
Right.
actually got upset with me about that. And I'm like, I would rather them be upset with me than me attempt it and
Oh,
hurt their
no,
kid. Like,
falling downstairs with the baby? Okay, my suggestion for that was you're going down, butt slide. You can hold both arms on the baby, and then you slowly go step by step on your butt, right? Going up, butt slide reverse.
yeah,
Like stand, and then on one side, like get up, sit down, get up, sit down, and slowly go up the stairs. It doesn't matter how slow you are, as long as the baby's safe, right? But that mother should have like never expected you to get a baby up the stairs. Get the baby up the stairs, and that'll take care of it. But why?
yeah, yeah, they did end up making adjustments where, like, I would just watch the kids at night, and they would have the kids downstairs, or they would be upstairs, and they'd be like, "Oh, just keep them upstairs. If they wake up, just go up and check on them, yada, yada." But yeah, they did end up kind of, like, accommodating that, but I did find it weird that she got upset about it, and that was just kinda odd to me. So I don't have kids, so anything kid related, I'm just gonna kinda leave to you to answer because I have limited experience babysitting, but I don't have a kid myself. I have 3 fur babies, and that's about it, and they are very easy to take care of. So nothing like, taking care of a kid and what that would entail.
So many
Um,
baby
so what
stories. So many.
what are some challenges that you faced as a parent, like, or, like, some insecurities that you faced as a parent, and how did you overcome them?
One is like not able to financially provide, right? And that was solved with me getting my version of disability here in Canada and being smart and frugal with it, right? Like I save, I recycle, I make furniture out of, like, pallet boards and things like that, like my garden and stuff like that. Like, I become, like, very minimalistic and very cost saving, and that way I can spend more money taking him to do things, taking him on vacations. Right now, I'm paying my 15-year-old 20 bucks a day to help me at my community league that I run, and he runs for me. He catches his niece when I'm watching her. He drags, like, the boards out of the fire pit for me. He does all the heavy lifting and stuff like that, and that way I pay him if he wakes up because he's a teenager, 180 bucks a month, and I'm able to provide some sort of, like, learning and thing for him, right? Like, some sort of, like,
Right.
monetary knowledge and experience. But one of the biggest emotional, like, hurdles was he's always got injured at his mom's house, which is I'm just gonna leave that there. But he tried to slide down the banister when he was about 7 or 11. Time flows, but he tried to slide down the banister, fell off, hit the shoe bench, and snapped his femur. Yeah, it's the most painful body and
Oh
hardest
my
body
god.
to break. So he was in the hospital for a bit on painkillers, and then he got some plates in his legs, and then uh, physiotherapy and rehabilitation. Watching my son limp and deal with a disability was one of the things, like, the struggle you went through, you don't want your child to go through. And me watching that,
Yeah.
but still giving the advice of like, you can still do it. Just push yourself a little bit. Don't like injure yourself. But you can reach it like and he had this little weird little run for a while, and now he's like running and fine, and he's a basketball boy. He's my basketball boy. He loves basketball. He wants to be did basketball in high school, and all that, and he's still running and stuff like that. And it was partially my advice helping him out, at least psychologically, on having a disability and stuff like that, right? And he runs totally fine now and stuff like that. But it was still hard watching my son potentially become disabled and maybe more than me with like a non-functioning thigh bone. Uh, so that was difficult. And then there's always this fear that I won't be fast enough to save them from something like visiting a camp with a mountain range or something, or a vicious animal, or a vicious person, and just never being fast enough to save them. That is like a nightmare level fear in the back of my brain as a parent, a disabled parent. It's just being not strong enough. This is one story I keep replaying in my mind where this mother during a flood was holding three of her kids, but she was only strong enough to hold on four kids, and she was only strong enough to hold on to two. And she had to make a choice whether to hold on to four, lose four, or save two, because she wasn't strong enough to hold on to four and the tree she was holding on
Jesus.
to. And that is a constant fear in my mind, right? And so that I teach my kids to look out for safety, look out for cars, look out for this. Like like I come with like a very not like a you can't leave the house and wrap you in bubble wrap, but I'm very much like death can happen any moment. Be very aware of it type of parent.
Yeah. Develop that self-awareness early so that
Oh, and the second part of the
did
conversation,
you
you start.
I was gonna ask, did you like emotionally struggle with like the day to day or like things that you felt that you could not do for them? Like what were those things and like how did you kind of build your confidence to move past any frustrations?
Honestly, repetition, a little bit of stubbornness, and ability to find like workarounds. Usually, it's kind of mentally worse when someone's like watching you and then going, "Well, can I just take it from you? It looks like you're struggling," which is like a kind of like it's average thing for disabled people like us. It's like, "No, just let me do it." And but the more I was just left alone with my devices, I found workaround. Like diapers aren't that hard because you're sitting, and me against a couch because it's hard to sit up, old back muscles and stuff like that. Diapers are easy to wipe, leaving in certain areas. When they're at certain age ranges, you only stay in one floor, really. That's your life for a little bit, unless you move them in their baby seat downstairs and you stay downstairs because you're playing
Yeah.
games or whatever. Diapers are easy. The genders have to be wiped differently and stuff like that. And eventually I got so much more confidence, and it was a thing also thing in my teens where my friends and family would hand the crippled guy sitting in the chair the baby. And that happened so often I actually had more experience with children by the time I reached like my 20s than most men my own age. So honestly it was repetition, confidence, because I was the one handed the baby, because the men ranching family, right? The other men and cousins would go out and help with calving, and they'd be lifeguards and other things like that.
Yeah, like they're out there doing all the physical
Yeah.
manual labor kind of things.
No one expected me to do it, and I wasn't, obviously not invited to it, but like I wasn't expected to help in that like my other cousins were. But I sat in the kitchen with my grandma, chopped things, and was given every baby so the mom could do stuff, right? But that became me, a man who handles babies, works with kids very well. I instantly go baby mode whenever I'm hitting have given a baby, like the faces, noises, and other things. sh- helping my friend who just had a baby. She did just today. She's like, "How do I dethaw this milk that's in the fridge?" Well, you boil water, you set the bag in it, and you let it dethaw, right? And just knowledge I have that other people don't through repetition, and the repetition gain confidence. Also, another fact of that same question, which is like the children, but also like the partner, right? Like he's asking me like his inadequacies he might feel with his wife. That is also a constant worry, right? In my head. Is someone stronger, someone better, someone more able coming by? And I'm just like, well, she's going to prefer for him, right? Or something like that. And it's an intrinsic part of me that I can't fix going to be the thing that my abled partner is going to prefer eventually, right? And the people that do that wouldn't date you to begin with. That's one thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
to my partner right now, but not to get into any of the weeds, but I'm preferred because I am I have aspects over my physical ability, right? Like to her opinion, like I'm kind, I listen, I'm a man who listens, who just
You're like you're more emotionally available than what most men, I don't want to say like most men, but you're more emotionally available than a lot of people would come off.
than the standard cultural expectation of men, right? Not every man like that, not a majority of men, just like say the cultural expectation. Because being disabled, I'm not gonna get out of conversation. I just have to listen to you. I'm not if getting out of conversation is getting out awkwardly because you kind of waddle away and they're always gonna catch up and keep talking to you, right? So like I learned the ability to have
Oh
a
my
conversation,
God.
right? And actually reading about conversation and actually caring. Like that's an aspect. Like I give a crap, right? It's like
Yeah.
the part my partner says you sit there and you listen and you actually emote like you care. Like I'm like, she said what to you? She's so stupid.
You're you're like the gossip husband. I love that because like the most guys won't gossip, and the thing is that I have like with my girlfriends is I will like we emotionally vent, and if I vent about a situation that I'm frustrated with, they'll just kind of agree and like let me vent about being irritated. Where versus my partner, he wants to like find the solution right away. Well, why don't you just do this? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know that I can do that. That's a solution and I know I can do that thing, but let me like get it off my chest and vent about it for a bit. Like,
I had to unlearn that. Like I literally had to unlearn that. Whether it's like part of my ADHD or something, or culturally as a man, I had to unlearn that. I literally was told by my son's mom, it's like, I don't need you to solve it for me. I just need you to listen. Right?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I actually had a conversation about that with both my partner and my brother, just kind of in general about how guys are, and they both like agreed that like men just want to solve the like in general we were having like a little kind of debate about it and talk about it, and they said like men in general just their way of reassuring their partner and their way of like fixing the issue is they don't want their partner to have to deal with that. So their first thing is to come up with a solution. Like whatever's stressing their partner out, they want to fix it right away and be like, okay, I fixed this thing that she's stressing about. She can relax now. Right? Like,
he bother you, he gone now. Clunk.
right.
That sort of
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, what it kind of boils down to, it sounds like, is just finding that confidence in yourself and finding workarounds and not beating yourself up about the things that you can't do.
because
I think
like
I think that
my
frustration is normal.
absolutely. But like all my strengths are because I'm disabled, right? All the preferences my
Right.
partners like
Yeah.
about me are usually driven or encouraged or evolved through me being disabled and having my attitude about it. Like, and then we're talking about, okay, the physical realm. Okay. We're adults. We all know what that means. Because I keep pushing myself and the way my exercises are and stuff like that, I have more endurance in aspect. I also have care about it and I pay attention. And like some aspects, I'm sorry, it's like some of it's like planking, and I've done 1,000 planks in my life to keep my abs up. Okay, just some of it, like literally, the aspect of being disabled makes me better in that realm. One, because I give a shit about you and your physicality. I ask questions because, oh my god, I can't do half the things that other people do. Like
Right.
one
Right.
of my one of my mental in my head discrepancies, true or not, right, is I won't be able to lift a girl up like against a wall or something. Like that aspect, like the whole way
Yeah.
internet ruins a guy's mind, right? Because like, oh, I should be able to do
You
this. I should be able to do this.
Yeah, I feel like that's just like kind of a trope a bit in like the media community, but like I know I definitely have some issues in that area as well. And all I'm gonna say on that is you learn to be creative. We're gonna get weird comments in the comment section for this topic probably. Um,
Probably, but we're not saying words. It's just all
yeah, yeah.
the joints. The
We're not gonna
joints.
respond to those comments.
Oh, just like maybe a wink. The joints. The joints are the most thing, especially when like the endorphins in your body get so much that you ignore the pain and then you get out and you're like your joints go like Right, I'm disabled. Right, that's a thing. That's okay. I'm just gonna lie here. I'm gonna lie here. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I also agree with that bit as well.
And it's like, and then my partner is a thing where like it partly ADHD, partly not. Where like she'll squish me, and oh my god, a healthy sized woman squishing you into the ground relaxes your muscles and joints so much. Like it's legitimately like almost physiotherapy. And I'm like, this isn't even doing it for me, dear. I'm so relaxed right now. Please squish me more.
You know we're gonna get comments on that especially. Oh my god. We're
Oh,
gonna get the weirdest freaking comments. So thanks for that, Ty.
yeah. But I'm sorry, that's an aspect of the partner relationship, right? Especially being disabled,
Yeah,
being an
yeah,
adult, keeping your wife
yeah, no, I
happy when, you got kids and stuff like that. Driving.
do them.
E
Yeah,
Even aspects of, like, driving and stuff like that. My partner drives. I can't drive. I won't be able to drive. I don't trust my nerve reaction time. That's too much money, insurance, and if I
yeah.
react enough to a danger, my entire life is either over because 'cause I'm dead or over because I have to pay for insurance in the car, right? So I just don't drive. But
That's something that I deal with as well. That's mainly anxiety. So I'm working on getting past that because I can drive. It's not that I physically can't. It's that I mentally freak out. So I am working on getting past that.
oh, I
But
can drive
the
without
main
freaking out.
aspect that stops me is how much I freak out.
It's the other people that I have issues with, right? Because I can drive
Yeah.
fine. I can drive fine. I can drive a quad. I can drive a car, as long as like the handle stuff. It's my reaction time dealing with other idiots. They pull in. I mentally see I don't react enough because there's a lockup when I'm in danger. My body does. My brain to body listening nerves and stuff don't listen. And that split second that requires
Yeah.
to save your life, I'm not sure I can do. So I just
Yeah, I just want to be able to do like a little driving, like just go to the store and do like little stuff so I can kind of take that off of my partner's shoulders. Cause right now he's great about it. Like I can ask him like, hey, take me here. And he's never said no outside of like if he has a migraine. Cause sometimes he'll have migraines where he'll like lose vision in one side. So it's like not
don't
safe for
drive
him
for
to drive
that.
when he's like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that it's still a work in progress for me in that area. Now, moving on to our next question is, hey, question about shoes. My daughter drags her right foot when she walks in her gait trainer. It's so bad she wears a hole in the top of her shoes. Anyone have any ideas on how to protect the tips of the shoes?
That's a constant problem I always have, and I'm constantly trying to find solutions for it. I used to have a collection hanging up on my wall on a hook of all the shoes I wore through, right?
Yeah.
Right now, new shoes, and I keep having to shave off pieces of the plastic because they keep coming off. And literally my shoe was flat. Now the tip just goes up like this because it's been worn in so much.
Yeah.
I would have a
Hole.
solution, but
Yeah, I haven't worn a hole in these yet, but you can tell in my shoes I'm gonna try to get that, but you can see where like the tread's kind of worn off because I walk on my toes. Eventually,
sideways
I
because
will get,
usually the no, it's like sideways so you can see the side of the shoe.
oh, yeah, yeah. But you can see
Yeah,
where there's like a bend in the toe because I'm constantly walking on my
yeah.
toes. I have to actively think to put my heel down first. And then that makes my walking slower because I have to actively think about what I'm doing. I do find that ankle weights help with that. For a period, I wore ankle weights, and for some reason, that extra weight helped with my walking and walking correctly. But yeah, you can kind of tell where these like bend up and where I'm already wearing the size off of where I'm already wearing like the front part of it down a little bit. What?
Shoes by
Yeah, mine aren't too bad. These are only, I'd say, about a year old. And honestly, they are better than other shoes that I've had. I have definitely worn through shoes before. I'm surprised these are doing that good. Good. Let me see if I can see. I don't know what brand these are, but I'm dumb. It's a Skechers. So I recommend Skechers. That they do tend to stay. This specific brand is Skechers Go Walk.
heh, heh, funny.
That's hilarious. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, I What I typically do is I look for good quality shoes that are a bit thicker on the tread, and I typically only buy one pair of shoes because if I wear more than one, I kind of burn through them faster, and then I kind of end up wasting money. So I'll typically buy like one pair of shoes and then wear those until that's it, until they're like,
Different type of shoes, different outfits. Skating shoes for when I'm skating, because oh my god, that burns through the shoe. I would also suggest small workarounds like duct tape on the front so that the duct tape wears through, but not the shoe. Also, tape cutting a little bit of like a pool noodle, putting it under the shoe where the burn is,
oh,
duct taping a little bit duct tape to it, so the child both realizes that's where they're grinding. They have to lift up a little bit, and it goes with the duct tape and the pool noodle before it gets to the shoe, and then just replacing as needed.
okay, that's pretty creative. I like that.
You gotta be when you're
Um,
disabled. Shoes cost a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be are very expensive. Yeah. Okay, let's see where we're at on this one. Hold on. Alrighty. So the next question is my son is 10 months old. His neurologist feels cerebral palsy is going to be a diagnosis of his, but she explains time will tell. Since he is behind on his milestones to determine more, so they're having to wait to tell. She's in that waiting process. As of right now, they are thinking it is hemiplegic cerebral palsy due to low muscle tone on his right side, along with very minimal movement. He had a stroke during utero due to me having preeclampsia. His stroke developed infantile spasms, a form of epileptic seizures, and a risk of developing focal seizures. Given all that I know now, what questions should I be asking? What should I be advocating for? I am currently not working to take him to multiple appointments, which will include several different therapies once he has his evaluation done later this month. So basically, she's asking. So she is a new mom dealing with this. Kid is relatively young. They're still waiting on those diagnoses to come back and tell her yay or nay. I don't like that verbiage, but yay or nay on like the diagnosis. And she wants to know like what questions should she be asking and what she should advocate for. The first thing I'm gonna say to that is as far as what you should be advocating for, advocate for your son and his needs. You're not gonna be able to tell those right away. That will happen over time. And that's going to change over time as well. His needs will change over time. Listen to your son when they tell you something hurts or like they're tired,
Months.
they're too fatigued.
He's 10
Yeah,
months, right? I was
yeah.
just like first as like as an aspect as an adult is I mean, I have no personal experience with seizures, but be asking the doctor themselves, what organizations, if he has these problems, can I ask or rely on to help him or to get some sort of help, funding or equipment or support through this? You're not alone. You're not alone as a parent. There are multiple parents like you, all different levels of ability of children and babies. So you should be asking the doctor all this in situation. Right now, you sounds like you are aware of some of his issues. There are organizations around that. There's help for that. There's wikis and other things like that for the therapies and stuff like that. Again, I have no experience with seizures. So again, ask the doctor. My personal experience with being diagnosed was my mother. The aspect they thought caused my cerebral palsy was my mother was in a rollover in a car and was thrown them from the vehicle.
Oh.
Black ice and all that. Ice, problem with ice my entire life. But that might have caused me to have some sort of small attack. And then the doctors testing, they would put needles in my feet to see how I react, right? And I
Mhm.
just cried. I didn't react, right? The doctor, this is a family story. I can't cooperate. I was a baby. Be like, oh, he's too placid to test. My mother nearly took him out. Like took him out. A male nurse had to throw her over his shoulder, have me in one arm, and take my mom out of the hospital because she got aggressive.
Jeez.
Because he, put needles in my feet. I cried and then said, "Oh, he's too placid to test." That was again
Yeah.
39 years ago. So the
Yeah, I
standards
have a
have
similar
changed.
story. Yeah, I have a similar story to that. When I was younger, I was getting evaluated, and the doctor that I was seeing, I have no idea, like if they were a specialist or like what doctor I was seeing or whatever, but I was getting evaluated, and the doctor had me set pretzel style, which is already hard when you have cerebral palsy, but he had me set pretzel style, and he pushes down on both my knees as hard as he can.
That
And
is
I
super painful.
instantly yell, and Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was hell. I instantly yelled and started crying, and then my mom was like, Sharon, leave the room." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I left the room, and the entire lobby could hear her screaming at the doctor. Yeah, we never saw that guy again. Huh?
You should have warned your mom. There should have been a, like, Missy, like to you, the baby, Missy, this might hurt a little bit, but we're just testing, okay? You tell me if it hurts.
Yeah, I think I
We're
was
just
like,
testing, and then we push, like, not full force, because if you're just testing the child and it is cerebral palsy, don't push down at full force. That feels like hot
you,
butter knives being pushed into my tendons
you,
and muscles.
do you know what he said after that? After that, right after he did that and I screamed, he was like, "Yeah, she's tight." And my mom was like, "Duh, we told you she has cerebral palsy. What the heck?" And yeah, we never saw that guy again. That guy really sucks. But yeah, so that was my similar story to that. So the struggle with being a parent of a disabled child, until your child is able to have their voice or learn how to stand up for themselves, you are going to need to do it every time. And I highly recommend doing that in front of your child because they will eventually learn that it's okay for them to stand up for themselves. They don't
Advocate.
need to take bullying
Advocate.
from, yeah, yeah, you don't need to, like, they'll learn that you don't need to take bullying from medical staff or whoever. I had it happen a lot in school where, my mom had to come down and pitch hell because of how the teachers were with me and everything, and how the school policies, like, they didn't give me accommodations for the school policies. It was a hot mess. But yeah, the best thing you could do is, as far as what questions you should be asking, ask every question that pops in your head. You're not going to learn or know answers or, understand things unless you ask. So, whatever questions pop in your head, don't be afraid of asking them. Always ask questions that you need. And as far as advocating, what you're advocating for your son. You're advocating for his needs, his accommodations. You're mainly going to be advocating for your son. Now, there are like volunteer programs and nonprofits if you wanted to get into that and if you wanted to spread more awareness and things like that, that would be an option. But if that's not up your alley, you're going to be advocating for son. Uh,
No, that's all
so
general though. Like literally, it
yeah,
would be like, if he's having seizures or epilepsy, there's epilepsy nonprofits with equipment or, a medication like CBD oil, you know, pills helps like seizures go down in a lot of people, right? Obviously you don't want to be a freaking 10, well, not even a year old, right? But like again,
yeah,
these
talk.
questions asked need to be asked. So it's literally like, okay, you got to get the full diagnosis, and it could be ever evolving because he's only under a year. So it's
Yeah.
not going to be sure, and you got to constantly be asking and going through these questions, seeing your child at home, especially the seizures and stuff with like medication, medical devices up their nose or other things like that. That's going to be hard. It is. But you being strong right now, constantly asking medical staff, your doctor, your nurse, your physiotherapist, constant questions, no matter if you feel like it's stupid or not, will help your child in the future just because you will know.
And I also want to just kind of say with the seizures, there are different types of seizures. There are different triggers. Not all seizures are the same. And most people, when they think seizures, they think of the grand mal seizures. You
Yeah, the
can
white
have little seizures. Seizures can look like you're zoning out. There's a number of triggers and things that can happen. Um, that vary from seizure type to seizure type. So definitely ask your doctor what to look out for and more specifically, how to care for him when he is having the seizure. Typical seizure care, you want to make sure that they're not able to bite themselves, that they're not going to hit their head on a table as that's happening. So it may be recommended, and again, this is a question for your doctor, but your child may need one of them, what do they call them? The little helmet things that you
Yeah,
put
so
on
it's
your,
like it's a safe baby safety helmet. It's mainly used to really give a soft head or like that your bones are slow to form, and most of them shape the
yeah.
skull, right? And you can't have a helmet on a child too young because their skull will shape under the helmet. It has to be. That's why
So
the
that's
top
definitely,
top is like clear, and it's only like this battle ring helmet about right about here, but they'll be padding the sides because if they seizure and even a baby and they just fall to the side. Mostly it's just like, arms together, hold
Yeah.
them, a lot of like holding their, at least I've seen, and I'm not a medical expert at all, holding them during it so they're not like flailing and hurting themselves as they get through it. And sometimes the body heat and firmness helps the brain get past that just a little bit. I had one guy who my dad worked with autistic. He had a seizure. I was standing beside him. This guy's like 6 foot tall. He just kind of stopped talking and looked at me sideways and then fell down and smashed his head against the counter.
Oh,
Just a pause, he looked at me, and then he just collapsed, right?
my God. Yeah.
So, older, if they have palsy, like, that's gonna get dangerous as they get older.
Yeah, like, not to make this poor mother paranoid, but I would if it were me, I'd be covering every single corner, every table, everything would be foam. Like, those pool noodle
Pool noodles
things would
everywhere,
be
yeah.
attached to yeah, yeah. Also, pool noodles are good because they're like $1, buy a ton of them. We also like to play with the pool noodles and bop our dogs with them, and they have a good time fighting the pool noodles. It's kinda funny. But, yeah, definitely talk to your doctor and also be aware that with seizures, it is very common for the person once they're coming out of that seizure to be very dazed and confused. Just be patient with them. If they ask where they're at, just calmly answer. Just give them time to kind of come out of that confusion. Obviously, I know for a while, for the first few times you have a seizure, they typically recommend that you go to the hospital to get checked out after, like, I don't know how common it is, like how often you would have to do that, or how like if it would need to be after every seizure kind of thing. But yeah, definitely talk with your doctor, and I would definitely read up on the type of seizures, how common they are, type of care that they need during the seizure process, and what aftercare should be. I had a friend of mine back in high school, when we were on the bus, he had a seizure, and the assistant on the bus had to help him through the seizure process. We basically just had to watch him, make sure he didn't hit his head on any of the bus seats or what have you. And when he woke up, he didn't know where he was. He didn't know what day it was. He was like, "Who are you?" And it took him a minute to kind of come out of that state. So just be aware that that does happen. Um, and talk to your doctor. Ask as many questions as you can about the seizure types. Ask as many questions as you can about potential triggers. Triggers for seizures do vary. It's not always like, most people think like the flashing lights and stuff like that. Um,
That's physically one
Sometimes
type of.
stress. Sometimes stress, sometimes like a lot of different I'm not sure what all, obviously I'm not a doctor or medical professional, so that's why you should talk to them obviously. But, just do your best to ask any question that kind of comes to mind and talk to your doctor as often as possible. And friendly reminder, you can always get a second opinion, which I do highly recommend just because it's always good to have a second opinion. So if one doctor is telling you, oh, it's this and do this and that, um, it can't hurt to get a second opinion if you have that option in your area. I realize not every area has different neurologists and different therapy places and stuff like that. A lot of areas are very small. They may not even have that. I have to drive. Well, I don't drive. My partner and my cousin, right now, because my partner's not doing great health wise himself, my cousin takes me to my physical therapy appointments, and it is an hour drive there and an hour drive back just so I can do my physical therapy. But yeah, as far as that, just kind of keep an eye on things and talk to your doctor, ask any questions you have, and just, have patience. I know it's a very scary situation, so just don't be too hard on yourself when you're dealing with that.
Especially when again, this child in the question is like is 10 months old. That's like under a year, right? So there's a bunch of stuff that's, applicable to that.
Yeah.
My personal experience just with my mom, and I didn't have seizures and whatever, but like slowly, getting my diagnosis. But my mom is, I love my mom, is anxiety ridden lady who is a nurse. So she would ask so many redundant questions that it compensated for everything, right? Again, like talking to your doctor, talking about organizations near you that can help you, charities, nonprofits that provide care or aids or home nurses or, any help will be good help. So just keep asking, keep going through the process. This child exists. There's things that help them. Do not worry. a lot of like, especially when they're 10 months old, you realize your child has a disability. It's like, is this my fault? This and that, you know? None of that matters. What matters is just how much effort you're putting in to asking professionals about their care and help them. And they exist, and that is precious because only so many atoms in this universe gets to coalesce into a being that is aware that it even exists.
Yeah, no, yeah, and just also, remind yourself you're not alone in this. Seizures
Nope.
are very common with cerebral palsy. It is not uncommon. It does happen. I thankfully don't have seizures. I can't imagine how terrifying that would be as a person that does have seizures and as a parent watching their child go through that. So just be aware that there are support networks out there. There are Facebook pages, there are Reddit pages, there is support out there, and don't ever hesitate to ask anything, ask any questions that you're concerned about.
For
You're
sure.
not alone in dealing with this. Yeah, yeah. Okay. We also have another question. This again is on shoes, and um, I yeah. Oh my God, shoes. If
Shoes.
you're,
Let's get some shoes. Let's get some.
oh my God, that
Oh
video.
my god.
Oh, no one, no one under like 25 is probably gonna know what we're talking about there.
My son tries to out meme me, and I'm like, you don't know the original memes. I come from the original land of memes, the prehistoric memes. I will show you them. Charlie, it's a magical Leopolodon, Charlie.
My God, Charlie the Unicorn? My God.
So it's like, what is this? I'm like, you tried out mean me. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, that's, oh my God. Flashbacks to the early like 2000s. Um,
My shoes.
so yeah. The next question is, hi everyone, we just placed the order for my kiddo's first daily wear AFOs. Are there any shoe brands that you would recommend? Also, would AFOs fit Crocs? She loves her Crocs and doesn't want to lose them. So as far as the Crocs, I really don't know. I know when I was younger with the AFOs and everything, I had to wear shoes that had that upper lift part on the back of your ankle.
Oh,
I couldn't wear,
the leg braces. Like I got confused with the F.
yeah,
What is the
hey,
AFO stand for?
AFO, the don't know. I can't remember what it actually out of. Let me see.
Yeah, that podcast. We don't know the name of our devices.
That's terrible. Okay, so an AFO is an ankle foot
Orthopedic.
orthosis.
Ortho.
Oh my God. Yeah, orthosis.
Getting in the Greek
Okay.
words here.
Yeah, so that's for those that don't know, that is the plastic brace that many children wear, typically in the early stages.
You'll
I
see them
wore
in
mine up
legs.
until,
Sometimes they'll not have pants. It's sometimes hard to get underpants. Sometimes you'll see a bulge in the lower ankle because we have to wear pants over them. They are very restrictive. They get very sweaty. They kind of grind at certain parts because you're a growing child and your leg is growing.
yeah.
I had to go once a year, every summer. Every summer, I'd have to go to Calgary, uh, 8 hours away from where I lived, to get casts and new ones fitted for me because I was a growing boy. I visibly remember having plaster on my leg and a silicone tube being shoved down the back for the little space, and it tickling
Okay,
the hill, and then the
to
cracking,
be fair,
and then
those were
feeling a plaster removed from your leg is so weird.
I loved it. I loved getting mine made. The process, I hated wearing them, but I loved getting them made because it was so fun. Like sticking my leg in the plaster and like it's all gooey. Like, kid me, love that. I hated wearing them though, but I wore them up until I want to say eighth grade. I stopped wearing them because of how I was treated at school. I did not wear shorts because every time I wore shorts, I kept getting, what are those? And odd comments about it that it was just awkward to deal with. And I reached a point where it was like really frustrating to wear them. My mom did talk to my doctor before we discontinued them. Always talk to your doctor. If your kid is dealing with that frustration, just do your best to listen to them and talk them through it. Does seem
I
like they are coming out with new designs for them. So it's not just
Yeah.
the clear plastic. It looks like you can actually get designs and make them kind of cool and stuff.
Marker or Sharpie pen and then just draw your own designs and geometric shapes on it. And have like, if you have like multiples or whatever, just have like your different ones for different outfits and just do your own designs.
Yeah.
I used to write shoes,
Well,
I used to write
like,
Star Wars stuff on white shoes, and people were like, "Where'd you get that?" And I'm like, I did it myself.
No, I would, I feel like most kids, especially like the younger ones that are dealing with that, I feel like most kids would love, especially boys, like Spider-Man stickers or Batman stickers or like, who's that dude? Luke Skywalker.
Who's that dude?
I've only watched the movies like one time, okay?
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I don't,
Oh my god. Why are
yeah,
we
I've only watched,
okay.
oh my God.
Only watched Star Wars a
Um,
few times.
yeah,
What kind of
so,
BS is this?
yeah, so
We're talking about shoes, right?
as far yeah, yeah, so
Yeah,
as
we're
far
talking about
as shoe
shoes.
type, yeah, I don't know about the Crocs. Honestly,
My
I would talk to the physical therapist about that because I always had to have,
my
like,
contribution
stuff
here,
that went up the back of my foot.
one size larger than what she usually wears because the AFOs are going to increase the size of her foot. I personally don't wear Crocs because they slip off and they don't give good ankle support, and I really hate them and they really make my in I don't do sandals because my toes clench together and sandals drag and they end up just cutting into the part of my toe. One like the ones
Oh,
that connect here, right? Not like Jesus sandals that you can tie up to the leg.
creative idea, creative idea. I wonder if you can cut the little plastic strap because, like, a lot of Crocs will have that, like, weird little plastic strap that
Yeah,
goes
it's
on
like
the
a
front
button or
for
something.
most
You actually
people.
pull it out both
Yeah,
sides or unscrew it in some models. Move
so
it.
what I yeah, yeah. So what I would do is I would remove that and replace it with Velcro that goes around the back. Which, by the way, if you go to Home Depot and you purchase Velcro from Home Depot, it will be the strongest Velcro that you will ever find on the planet. Like it is, my God.
I used to have leg elastics that would wrap around my legs and twist my feet out before I got my surgery, right? My siblings would take the Velcro from the elastics and stick it to carpets to trap me, right? My
Oh,
little brother
that's terrible.
my little
That's
brother
so
did
mean.
that. We were little kids, like I mean under 10 and like like almost like under 6 for the other one. They would do that, push me over and steal my the one thing, food, but it was my banana. They did that, pushed me over, took my banana and crawled away and ate it. I am the older brother, okay? Kind of and I was stuck and I was like I couldn't move anywhere. So be careful about how too strong Velcro with a disabled kid because they might get stuck on a carpet somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't, but yeah, I would see if you can like get kind of creative. See if you can like make a Velcro strap on the back so that it can kind of go around the ankle there, and maybe that'll help. One thing that you learn about dealing with this disability is how to be creative, and it's awesome that some of the stuff that people can come up with. So yeah,
Would
that is one.
suggest sock over the AFO so the grip of the sock keeps the croc on versus it sliding off your sock on your foot and your foot in your AFO. The sock being inside and not providing that friction to keep it on, right? And
I would
to
do
increase
one
the
on the
size of the foot inside the croc.
I would do one on the inside and one on the outside just because the edges of the thing that kind of go over the base of your foot, the edges that are on the top of your foot,
Under your
those always cut into, well, not on your toes, but like, the part that, like here's your foot and then the plastic that like wraps around,
like
um,
this
to
part.
where it's on the top of your foot. Yeah, yeah. So like
Yeah.
where it wraps around on the top, the plastic that ends up on the top of your foot wrapping around to secure it to your ankle, that stuff hurts. I
Oh God.
always it would
I
like me.
my
I
foot
hated
hurts
it.
my ass.
Yeah. Well, the part that was over the top of my foot would always pinch me and cut into me. So I would recommend kind of like thicker or soft socks, and I would put them both on before you put the AFO on, and then also like over the back. That should probably help with that as well.
She could totally keep her Crocs. I have seen no idea you can adapt and get larger
Yeah,
shoes for
yeah.
her AFOs versus her actual shoe size. And then when she gets out of them, if she gets out of them, then she can switch to smaller shoe sizes. For me, I got out of my AFOs because my homeschool teacher at the time took me to the pool to do therapy with me, and kicking and holding side of the pool and doing swim therapy increased my calf size so much they couldn't put AFOs on me anymore. So
Oh
it's
man.
like two things there. There's like the really don't worry about shoes, just get larger sizes, find workarounds. Velcro is a god saver. I'm sorry, I only learned my shoes when I was like 14 because Velcro was like I couldn't bend like I for a point I couldn't bend over to tie my own shoes. So just like Velcro and then getting off was a godsend. I have a thing called dogs, which are like Crocs without holes. 'Cause when I wear Crocs, I'm just scooping snow and sand into my shoe because all the holes in a Croc, right? So I had these things called
Okay.
dogs that were just one solid plastic form. And what I would do was like I would just drag my foot through snow when I was like trying to get to my friend's house across the street, and I would just shovel my way through snow because there was no holes.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think those shoes are meant for winter, Ty. I don't think those are winter shoes.
No, but when you're lazy, okay, I have a teenager, okay? I have a teenager. The amount of times I said, you shouldn't be wearing that. You know, you should be running in that. He wears sandals everywhere, everywhere. And he's sort of raised
Oh
by
my
his
god.
grandparents. So he's always wearing like socks and sandals. And I'm like, don't do that. Like big black ones, up to his like almost he copies his grandfather wandering around in his shorts and his socks and sandals. And they'll do it. They do it when they do sports. They do it when they're running everywhere. They do it when the weather when it's winter. Like teenagers don't make sense. So just because it's not made for winter doesn't mean you're not gonna find your abled teenager wearing them in the winter going, wow, my toes are cold. I wonder why, doofus.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so this question's gonna maybe kind of get a little emotional here. The person asking said, I'm so upset. I miss the fun in life. Most of the times I just feel like a spectator. Yeah, I've dealt with that.
Repeat
I've
the
dealt with that
question.
quite a bit myself. And that's
Okay.
the
Our question.
concern. That's the concern. Yeah, they feel like a spectator. They aren't able to do the things that their friends or family are able to do, and it feels like they're just kind of watching from the outside in. Is kind of how I took that comment.
That depends on if the person we're talking about is like a full quadriplegic. You know, uh, uh, yeah, I'm diplegic, two legs effects. But quadriplegic, and then especially if like you're mentally acute, but like you can't talk, gl- uh, saliva gland issues. You know, you're trapped in this, right?
Yeah.
That is not gonna lie, that is not gonna be easy to deal with mentally, especially if you're mentally acute. You gotta take it in the okay. My what's the word for it? Accommodation, my adaptation, my compensation is kind of take it a megalomaniac way. Yeah, you're the observer. You observe. You know, you can do things on the computer. You can direct people. You can sit at a desk and decide what people do. Your realm may not be physical, may not experience those things, but it doesn't mean that you're have any less value or you can't apply yourself to these areas. Things
Yeah.
like I feel like I'm a spectator. Oh, not any of us is going to be, not all of us are going to be quadding or horseback riding or doing hikes or whatever. But it doesn't mean people can't. Your friends, your true friends, your true family can't organize a thing where you can take you to a museum or an event where there's wheelchair access, take you with you.
Yeah, and I definitely understand that frustration because I dealt with that a lot. Like you want to be able to do the activities and stuff that your friends are doing. You want to be able to be that person that can kind of keep up with everybody. It's hard dealing with that frustration, and it's something that I feel like is an on and off frustration that you kind of deal with through life in general, especially with cerebral palsy. The best way to handle that I've found is I get into things that I can do. So I play video games, I read, I do different things that I'm able to enjoy, and I've kind of found my community around that, and that kind of helps mitigate that. Like of course I still deal with moments where I feel like I'm kind of looking on the outside in and I can't join certain things or what have you. That's unfortunately that is a part of the disability that you are always going to deal with, but how to cope with that is finding workarounds, finding hobbies and stuff that you like, that you enjoy, that you can do. So, like, I found a community in video gaming, I found communities that are into art, music, etc. Just building those friendships around the stuff you can do can go a long way in kind of mitigating how you feel about that. You're still going to run into struggling with that now and then, but having those communities where you're not feeling as excluded goes a long way.
Like in a previous episode, we're talking about like our friends who piggyback us, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have a proper friend group, they will include you, right? They will find a way. I had friends who just pick me up. I've watched other people more severe with cerebral palsy. Their friends work as a team to lift them in and out of a pool in like their water wheelchair, or like it's a floaty wheelchair, right? And they'll all carry
Yeah.
him in the pool. Like, hey, someone grab Steve, right? Oh shit, we forgot Steve, and they'll run back and they'll pick him up. One person will put him on his back and run off. My friends will be like, oh shit, we got to get somewhere. Someone pick up Ty. They pick up me, and then we're off, right? Like people
Do you
give a
know
shit.
how many do you know how many times I have went walking with friends, and they'll turn around and be like, "Where's Sharon?" And, like, they just kinda forget, they don't, because like, to be fair, I'm a slow walker, okay? And not everybody, some
Really?
people have a hard time with that. Yeah, yeah, I'm a very slow walker. Surprise.
Right.
Shocking, I know. So, I'll have friends, and even my own partner has done this where he'll, like, just kinda walk ahead, and I have to explain to him that, like, "Hey, man, your walking pace, your normal walking pace is power walking to me, so I need you to slow it down." Like, and I think that that's easy to forget when you're not dealing with it. And there's definitely funny moments we've had with that, but I've had friends, like, turn around and be like, "Oh, where did Sharon go?" Because 'Cause I'm not behind them anymore because they went too far ahead and they forgot to check to see if I, so then they gotta turn around and be like, "We lost you." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you did. I tried to tell y'all to slow down, but okay."
I say I'm the caboose of every train,
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
right? And
That or, like, you can let me walk ahead, but it's gonna be slow. Like, you
well,
can let me be in the front, but it's gonna be a slow process.
well, I can't walk that slow. What do you mean you can't walk that slow? It's called not moving that fast. Just stop moving.
I feel like that's hard for some people. So recently I actually went out with my brother. We went out to like Hobby Lobby and a bunch of other stores and stuff. And it's funny because my brother is like 6 foot something. And first of all, I am like 4'11", so I'm short, so that doesn't help. So I commonly make the joke, I have little legs because I do. I'm not gonna freaking be able to keep up. And
I
he's like walking out the yeah, as we're walking out the store, I get behind and I was like, "Oh my god, you're so hard to keep up with." And his response was, "Really?" Like dead serious. He was like, "Really?"
your walking gait
I'm
is
like,
like two and a half ones of mine, and I have cerebral palsy. So yeah, the amount of people that look,
like
the amount of people say, oh, like the one guy, he walks determinedly everywhere, and then his wife is like my best friend. She's like, it's so good to walk with you because I can just casually enjoy my walk, and I'm like, and I'm struggling, right?
so
But for her, it's like
yeah.
casual walk.
Yeah. And to be fair, I am guilty of doing this as well. So the friend that I told you about earlier, I don't think I mentioned her on the podcast. I don't know. We'll have to find out in editing. I guess I'll find out
Oh,
later.
yeah,
But the friend I told you about earlier that was blind and we worked at the call center and I would help
yeah.
her out all the time. She would have to share her screen with me and I would kind of like see what she was looking at. And yeah. So one time I'm helping her, and she's on this page I've never seen before. I don't know what she's on. So I'm like, I just casually was like talking with her. I was like joking with her a little bit. And I'm like, girl, what page are you on here? She's like, I don't know. I can't see. And I'm like, shit, I am so sorry. And she laughed at like she laughed about it and everything. And I'm sure she deals with that often.
It's like
So
Tripoli jokes. I'm pretty sure,
yeah,
like, I would take it as a joke, or even as her friend, I'd be like, "What you looking at?" "Oh, shit."
see, that's the thing. I feel like when you don't deal with a specific disability, it's very easy to kind of forget certain things. So I like never fault people for forgetting like, oh, I struggle with this because of my cerebral palsy. I just remind them when it happens. I'm like, hey man, I'm not gonna be able to keep up with you. My bad. You're gonna have to
That's
slow it down. I'm sorry.
when Toph is like, "I can do this," and she takes a poster and puts glue and then smacks it on, and everyone's quiet, they're not saying anything because 'cause they're her friends, and she goes, "It's upside down, is it's upside down, isn't it?" And it's, like, upside down and backwards, and they're like,
Oh, like, yeah,
"No."
I remember that. Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I definitely have. I've made a few friends in that community, and I've talked about their with them about their challenges as well. And it's always good to kind of learn about different challenges that people are dealing with and different disabilities and stuff like that. But yeah, no, she was a good friend of mine. We're still friends on Facebook, but yeah, I just I was mortified. Oh my god, I was so mortified. I was like, "What page are you on?" And she's like, "I don't know. I can't see." And I'm like, "My bad.
The face
My bad. Oops." Oh my god, I was so mortified. I was like, "I am so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she's like, "It's fine. It happens all the time." And I was like, "Oh no. I'm an asshole. I'm the asshole."
in my call center, I was in the training group when I was training, and our manager was super nice lady, one of the best managers I ever had. Super nice lady, but she was like she was a Western white woman who converted to Islam, right? And that we had a joker, this girl we always make jokes, right? and she got frustrated, and she went and she Karen, I forget her name, like, "Karen, in the name of Allah, what's wrong with this?" And she just yells it out loud, and the whole class was quiet and just looks at her, and she just starts helping her, and then we all start laughing because she didn't even see it as an issue. It went over her head, like, our hijab-wearing manager, and we all just lost our crap laughing, and it's like, "Oh my god," like, all this was, "You can't just say that." But then it was fine. The person didn't even notice. It's like half my friends, they'll make disability jokes, or my true friends will make disability jokes, and everyone else around them will be, like, waiting for, like, shoe drop people to be like, "That's offensive. I feel offended."
Dude,
It doesn't even notice to me because I do that to myself all the time.
yeah, I mean, like we've said in the previous episodes, like you have to be able to joke about it. You have to be able to find that confidence in it and just to kind of deal with it. But yeah, I've actually had that happen as well. One of my friends, like we were out, we were all hanging out and everything. My partner and his two best friends, and one of my friends made a joke about my partner, and that's why I walk like that. You know, like you know what he's hinting at.
Mhm.
Oh my god, and it was so hilarious because it was out of nowhere. It was like we were just joking around, and the next thing he dropped that, and he did not miss a beat. He did not hesitate when he said it. He didn't, like, stumble on his words or anything. He did not miss a beat, and it was hilarious. Oh my god. But yeah, no, it's you definitely gotta, like, laugh it off, and it was kinda funny because like, our other friend was like, "Hey," it was, like, laughing really hard, and he was like, "Dude, you can't say that." And I'm like, "It's fine, guys. It's" like, it was and also it was honestly, it was the funniest joke I've ever heard on it, like, it was hilarious.
Oh my god, as a boy growing up with palsy, and we're talking about, like, the being included, like, being a be like, this person is asking about, like, I just feel like a bystander and, whatever, and we're talking about our friends who included us, who were there
Yeah.
for us, our family members who were there for us, who included us, the book reading and stuff like that. Like, I'm such a book nerd. Like, I can go on about Frankenstein and stuff like that, and right now I'm rereading Cthulhu Tales and stuff like that, and Sun Tzu's Art of War because, oh my god, I can just sit and read. And then, but as a teenager growing up with the wheelchair and the jokes, my friends, they start making like, thank you, so pop culture, for including every friend group to have one disabled person, because the kids just started like, oh yeah, he's our token disabled guy. We have to bring him everywhere. I becoming a teenager, in my wheelchair, I'd be like, hey ladies, best seat in the house, sitting in my wheelchair. My god, is looking back, I cringe so much as me and a teenager, but it still, like, forced me to be included into the dynamic of being a teenager.
Yeah, yeah, no, you definitely have to, you know, it's just a matter of finding your people. Once you find your people, like you're good. You just got to find your people. And that can take some time. It can be a frustrating process, but you'll eventually find your people. And once you do, you'll feel like you're kind of at home and everything, you know? But yeah, that is all we kind of got for the questions today. But as a reminder, we will be having our first guest speaker at the end of this month. So, very excited for that. Please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on that future content. Additionally,
Like
again,
and
thank you all.
subscribe.
Yeah, yeah. The yeah, and then also we are looking for additional interviewees to have on the podcast. So if you're a parent raising a child with cerebral palsy, if you have cerebral palsy, if you're a caretaker, if you're a medical professional, definitely reach out. We would love to share your story. We would love to talk about the roles that you play in helping someone with cerebral palsy or having cerebral palsy. So definitely, reach out to us. That email is going to be oops palsy podcast. No, it's not. It's not. It's Jesus. It's oopspalsy@gmail.com. Thank you. Now my brain is working. That email is oopspalsy@gmail.com. I will put that in the description. Our Reddit page is also live now, and we can have people post their stories and their questions and their take on dealing with it. But our Reddit is now active. It's r/cerebral palsy. No, it's not. What is wrong with my brain today? So there is Okay, to be fair, there is an r/cerebral palsy Reddit subreddit that I frequent a lot. Check out that. Shout out to them. Oh my gosh, like Freudian slip there. So our Reddit page is surprise, surprise, oops, palsy. Yeah. My God. Anyway, so that is it for today. Please join us for next time, and we will see you in episode